Hello everybody, my name's JustinPSports. Welcome to the first episode of our MyNBA Eras League as we go back to 2002-03 to change history. Throughout this series, we'll be utilizing the Seattle SuperSonics as our team of choice as we look to try and see if we can win a title by 2008. Quite simply, the Seattle SuperSonics moved to Oklahoma City by 2008-09. We look to change that fact via the power of winning and the power of a championship. Remember, it's similar to the case what was seen for the Seattle Mariners back in the 1990s. They were close to moving before the playoff runs of the 1990s. Now today, we see if we can find that spark in the 2000s. Let's talk about the roster. We're utilizing rosters from Chevrolet 98 to fill in the remainder of those players not originally included with the base roster, but from the roster prior to the start of the year. Gary Payton, he was a conversation point. He was rumored to be on the trade block because of some ownership before the year. Rashard Lewis, he was on the rise after a successful 2001-02 season with a career high at the time of 17 points a game. Desmond Mason was amongst those in the conversation for Sixth Man of the Year as just a sophomore at age 25, having double-digit points per game off the bench much of the year. Brett Berry, he was the backup point guard for a lot of times in Seattle throughout 3 seasons coming into this year. He looks to become one of those breakout players this season as he'll start things off opening day. We'll get to that in a moment as we get ready to start things off in what's called in the game the Kobe era. Now, let's talk about the draft class, because obviously 2003 is considered one of the greatest draft classes in the history of the NBA. The draft class utilized is by Jarkadon 3148, which will utilize the ability to draft a lot of the first rounders and not a lot of randoms in a very stacked draft class. That means we have at least 30-plus players to choose from in the draft when it gets that point in our first ever offseason. Our sliders are the difficult ones from King Sim Kids. That's for Operation Sports. Link is in the description down below as I put each of those in manually. Now, from doing several test games prior to the start of this series and in preparation for said series, I can tell you the sliders, extremely challenging if you don't have the team fit for you or youth. This is also a very old team coming into the season, by the way, as we look to try and see what happens opening night. What are you seeing on screen now? Well, here's an interesting tidbit I'd like to try to start things off for the series. We're going to put in the rotation from the original opening day. Yes, they played the Phoenix Suns that game. So what I did throughout the preparation for this game was look at Basketball Reference, look at all the minutes played that night, and put them all retrospect to what was seen in real life. It's a lot more different than what I would have chose, but you're talking about some interesting rotational choices. Reggie Evans on debut. He was the starting center, known for rebounding back then. He ended up playing just 6 minutes, for example. Stephon Marbury leads the way for the Phoenix Suns, coming off a pretty strong 2001-02, his first All-Star appearance. Sean Marion looking to be the Matrix once more, while Amari Stoudemire has his debut. Also keep an eye on Joe Johnson. Now, let's get ready to go to the hardwood. It's the start of the 2002-03 season in Seattle. A look at the Seattle skyline as fans flock to Key Arena. The Phoenix Suns are in town to take on the SuperSonics on opening night on 2K Sports. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's festivities for NBA action. I'm JustinPSports. Let's take a look at the starting lineups from Seattle. In the lineup for Phoenix, it's Stephon Marbury alongside Penny Hardaway, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, and Scott Williams. Well, for Seattle, it's Gary Payton, Brent Berry, Rashard Lewis, following through Drake Drobniak, and Reggie Evans. A tale of two different teams last season. Seattle, a playoff team, looking for more. Phoenix, a team building for the future, looking to rise this year. We're underway from Seattle. The SuperSonics winning the opening tip of the season. Gary Payton sets it up from the left wing. Looking for the cut this time. Drobniak in, turned over. Intercepted by Stoudemire. Marbury trying to cut in. Kicks it to Williams for the first shot. Good. And Scott Williams has the first bucket of the season for Phoenix. Gary Payton and co. looking for their first shot after the quick turnover. Rashard Lewis, jump shot, good. Rashard Lewis responds quickly. It's 2-all in the first 40 seconds. Phoenix last season went below 500. Frank Johnson looking for a lot more talked about this season as Marbury will go to the line off the Reggie Evans whistle. Stephon Marbury will take his first free throws of the season here. Last season, he led the team in scoring about 20.4 points per game after being a 2001 All-Star. He was traded to the team last offseason. Ended up being the main distributor for Phoenix. First is good. Starbury known for his ability to not only create space, but hit jump shots. Second doesn't fall though here. 3-2 the score. Payton gets the high screen from Reggie Evans, looking for the pick and roll. Up and down low for the former Iowa Hawkeye. A nice slam and a nice cut on the pick and roll. And the rookie has his first 2 points in the NBA. Just past a minute into action here on 2K Sports. We're glad to have you with us from Key Arena in Seattle. Sean Marion, jump shot, rims out. Gary Payton looking for the high screen. Similar play set up as last time. This time he keeps it. Likes to pass it out to Lewis. Lewis amongst those looking for the cuts. Now off to Payton. Payton, contact to the line to shoot two. Sean Marion caught for his first personal. And already a first-team foul for Phoenix. Gary Payton was in the top 10 in MVP voting last season. He also had his most efficient year at the free throw line, just below 79%. The glove looking for a lot more this season. There's only been a lot of talk about potential trade rumors after a change in ownership a couple years ago. Penny Hardaway, now guarded by Berry. Screen set up by Stoudemire on the fade. Hardaway gets the double now from Williams. Shot over traffic in the hands of Evans on the board. Payton looking on the cut. Looks back, finds Berry. Kick back to Rashard Lewis. Back out to Payton. Still trying to fall through the play. Drawn by Nate McMillan, the third-year head coach. Lewis, jump shot, misses. Second chance, Drobniak, no good. Third chance, reset back to Payton. Berry looks for a little bit more space. This time for a jump shot. That doesn't go. 4, make it 5 chances down as Drobniak finally gets it put in the cup. An 8-3 run to start for Seattle. Marbury looking on the push ahead, getting by Payton. Again contested and again no good from down low. Berry gets surrounded by traffic. Looks for the setup for Payton. Payton thought of a 3, instead gets the pick, goes for the fade. No good. That hits the back of the rim once again. Marion takes it up quick. Back to Marbury for 3 in response. Good.
Stephon Marbury.
And Starbury drains the 3. Last year, he shot below 30% from that point. This time he starts 1 for 1. Lewis draws contact for free throws.
Scott Williams.
Rashard Lewis drawing the contact on the drive off Williams. He also is coming off a career high in points per game, just below 17, 16.8 to be precise. He was also, in the past couple years, a gold medalist in the 2001 Goodwill Games for Team USA. Second's good. 10-6 here in Seattle. Phoenix looking to try and close the gap fast. Hardaway gives it up to Marion for the jump shot, rattles away. Evans another rebound, a double-double machine for his previous 2 years of college play in Iowa. Drobniak. Screen, takes the three, contested, rolls away. Lewis, pump back, good. 6 points for Rashard Lewis. Marbury looks from the pressure, looks on the cut. Again, a good contest, this time by Barry. Payton kicks it out to Evans. Back down low, Drobniak into sea of traffic. Marbury caught for the reach-in. And that's his first personal. Seattle will inbound here this time. So far, defense part of the name of the game. A lot of interior opportunities offensively for Seattle, though. Payton tries to break into that interior. Going from a low post look. Gets the second chance, kicked out to Barry. For three, no. Third chance put up by Evans, drops. And the 2001 Big Ten Most Outstanding Player again with the bucket. Marbury. Working with Williams on the pick and roll. Gets around Evans, gets some space to work good. Scott Tank Williams. Again, a recent free agent signing. Continuing to get some opportunities down low for Phoenix. Barry stripped away by Williams. Here comes the Matrix. Marion contested, rolls short. Almost halfway to the first quarter, Marion with the steal. Looking for a quick redemption. Gets the redemption on the shot. A 4-point lead for Seattle. Barry. Looking and searching. Finding Drobniak for the low post. Lewis trying to cut around, couldn't get the cut. Payton now goes down low. Lewis on the size up. 6 on the shot clock, drives, cuts, gets the free throw. Yet again to the line, shoot 2.
First personal foul, fourth team foul.
Mari Stoudemire caught on the personal, his first, as Lewis continues to be one of the main offensive outputs so far. Just less than half the points so far for Seattle, and now half of those points coming from Lewis. 8 of the 16. Marbury has one-on-one with Payton. Sizes to his left and draws more contact. To line is Marbury. Getting set to get back and away with Seattle up 18-12. 5:16 to go in the first quarter. Desmond Mason now in for Seattle, as well as Calvin Booth along with Anzu Cisse. Good from Hardaway from down low. Also into the game, Vladimir Radmanovic, one of the second-team All-Rookies last season in the NBA. Radmanovic has some double screens, throws it instead to a crowd of traffic. Marbury, alley-oop to Stoudemire. And Amari Stoudemire, one of the All-Americans from the McDonald's All-American game, able to stuff it down there. Barry looking to calm things down, working with Mason. Screen by Booth. Mason takes the jump shot, rattles away. Williams the board. Marbury the boost. Marbury fading away from traffic, resets into Marion. Jump shot falls. And all of a sudden, the Suns tie it up at 18 apiece. An early first quarter back and forth. Barry gets rejected on the drive. Here comes Hardaway. Phoenix looking for their first lead here. Marion, alligator arms it. Stoudemire resets it on the rebound. Hardaway, the jumper for the lead. That's short. Third chance. Stoudemire good.
Amari Stoudemire.
And Amari Stoudemire forces Seattle timeout. McMillan looking to talk things over with his team. .131 to go here in the first quarter. Phoenix, since the timeout a few moments ago by Seattle, has just taken over all momentum here. Hayden getting the high screen by Booth. Looks, spins, drives, rejected down low. Too much traffic to get over that time on the rejection to Sakalitis. Jump shot good in response by Marbury. Seattle, after leading as much as 5 earlier, now trails by 9. Hayden cuts, draws, and he'll go to the line once again.
Second personal foul.
And one thing seen so far when Gary Payton, at least in preseason, is not on the floor, Seattle has struggled, especially when it comes to positioning. They are out of 2 players today. Kenny Anderson and Greg Anthony, who were both amongst those to make the roster as other guards, did not get healthy enough to make the season opener today. Seattle in a bit of trouble there. Marion puts up the J, rebounded by Booth. Under 43 seconds to work with. Zase gets work done, now to Mason. Back out to Payton. Screen by Radmanovic. Gets the double screen set up, trying to break away on the one-on-one. Payton back out to Radmanovic for 3, just rattles away again. 1 second difference, shot clock and game clock. Trying to set things up around Marion. Randy Brown working as the point. 10 seconds to work with on the shot clock, down to 8. Marion away from the double. Bo Outlaw gives it out to Brown. Down to 2, contested over Payton, short. And that ends off your first quarter of play. After 12 minutes of play, Phoenix has the advantage. You're watching 2K Sports. From Seattle, Washington, it's the Suns up 32-24 over the SuperSonics. Welcome back to 2K Sports. Phoenix with possession for the start of the second quarter. JustinPSports with you. 32-24, your scoreline so far from Seattle. Joe Johnson, well, the acquisitions last season for Phoenix, no good on his first shot at the quarter. Mason looks to take it back down. Payton. Pick and roll with Jerome James. Takes the shot before the roll. James goes in for the slam. And the second chance opportunity for James leads to quick stuff. And a good play by Big Snacks. Johnson, guarded by Desmond Mason. Looks and draws contact. Jerome James, very quickly, his first personal on the quarter. And an interesting story when it comes to Joe Johnson, especially since he's a former SEC Rookie of the Year. In fact, he was Mr. Basketball for the whole state of Arkansas before his collegiate career. He was traded to Phoenix back last February and seen an increase in playing time. He's expected to take a bigger leap this season, Joe Johnson is, from the bench role. Expect him eventually to become a starter. Barry, Radmanovic, trying to work around as Lewis, and a whistle as they'll go the other direction. That leads to a couple changes. Radmanovic coming out, coming in is Drobniak. Marbury. Trying to keep it away from Barry. Now jump shot, Johnson trying to fade back a touch, doesn't drop. Seattle trying to keep it slow tempo to start things off, trying to keep this game from going out of hand. Lewis takes a drive, too strong on the bounce, second chance, drops, and one, count it. And the Yugoslavian on the bucket. A chance to complete the three-point play, Drobniak. And the free throw's good by the former FIBA Euro star. 2 times he got that distinction. 34-29, just about 90 seconds into the second quarter here on 2K Sports. Jump shot, Marbury good. And continuing to trade blows here in the early going. 10:23 to go. Now with the frame. Lewis on the cut. Good. So far, SuperSonics assists -2 to Phoenix. We'll see if that picks up more when Gary Payton returns. Whistle. Desmond Mason caught for the reach. That's his first personal foul. Second team. Inbound. Giving off and away. Looking for a little bit of space. Now it's Marbury. On the jump shot, Marbury rims out. Mason up to Berry. Lots of open space for the pick. James goes on the roll. Berry keeps it, drives it, makes it. Brett Berry on the bucket, his first 2 points tonight for Seattle. Once again, isolation, the name of the game for Marbury. This time, misses with the defensive Berry. Seattle needing buckets. They trail by 3, looking to try and get back to a tie ball game soon. Mason takes the 3, contested, too strong. Hit the left side of the rim. Johnson runs past Mason, goes for a midi in response, gets it any. 5-point lead for Phoenix. Berry. Once again, working around the world, gets now to Drobniak. Lewis get to the low post. Guarded by Gugliana. Over top him, the youngster over the veteran. Back to a single possession. Marbury. Looking for a lot of screens, gets 2 of them in fact on the double. Johnson gets 1 to pump. James rejects it in his face. Mason trying to break on board, can't get to the Berry. 3, gets the back of the rim. Fast break in response. Marbury draws contact. He'll go to the line, shoot 2. 2:30 to go in the first half. Seattle still down now by 11. 58-47. Make that nearly more. Hardaway was wide open off the inbound. Hayden. Looking for a little bit of separation. Radmanovic gets a little bit of that separation over Johnson, couldn't make him pay. Fast break back by Phoenix. Johnson past Payton, gets it in for the bucket. Joe Johnson yet again making it difficult to stop him. Last year, Johnson just had 7-8 points per game on the average. This season, it's already looks solid for his major debut in Phoenix. Whistle, drawn by Johnson on Mason. A look at one of the previous rejections. Williams has been amongst those causing chaos interior-wise. So after the Desmond Mason offensive foul, his second personal, the Suns with the possession, under 2 minutes to go in the half. Johnson has some open space. It goes to Williams instead. Suns keeping to the coach's play. Marion to Johnson. 6 on the shot clock. Kicked out to Stoudemire. Hardaway, jumper, rattles off the banker. And Penny Hardaway again on the bucket, the 4-time All-Star, continuing to grow the Phoenix lead. Hayden. Now he draws a whistle. And this time it's going to be Payton to the line. Payton's been struggling a bit from the field, just 20% so far here tonight. First is good. And a lot can be said when it comes to Gary Payton with what we discussed earlier. but he is one of the players in the MVP race we said earlier. He was a second-team All-NBA player, still one of the top defenders as he reaches towards his mid-30s. Hardaway matched up with Payton. Marion now works just inside the arc. Swish. Penny Hardaway gets the assist that time. Under a minute to go in the first half. Things look very strong for Seattle early. They have struggled to match with Phoenix's shooting. More than 50% from the field for the Suns. Another miss, another brick for the SuperSonics. Hardaway, drive back. That one just misses. Chance for the 2-for-1 opportunity. Seattle wanting to work fast instead. Gary Payton forced to regroup. Back to Radmanovic. Back to Payton. 11 on the shot clock. Payton with the screen. Radmanovic blocked. Second chance. Radmanovic able to pick up the glass. Radmanovic able to keep the possession moving for points. And Phoenix has a chance for a second straight quarter for the final shot. Marion looks to keep it himself. Euro steps past Radmanovic, no good. Second chance does fall with 1 second left. Booth to Payton, and Payton will just sit on it. 66-51, your score at the break. The Phoenix Suns in control with their shooting. You're watching 2K Sports from Seattle. Welcome back to the Key Arena in Seattle. The SuperSonics down by 15 to Phoenix. The Suns being led by one, Stephon Marbury. 19 points on 6 of 13 shooting. He's also been a good passer. 7 assists have been difficult to stop when it comes to his distribution. We're underway for the second half of play. The Suns with the possession. Marbury trying to work to Hardaway, gets blocked off, and a whistle. Back the other direction, offensive foul against Williams. Shard Lewis will look to try and jump into the ball game for the inbound. On the floor for Seattle, Payton, Berry, Dropniak, Evans, Lewis, your 5. 1-on-1, Payton electing to keep isolation. 9 on the shot clock, now gets the screen, gives it out to Drobniak, goes on the step forward, drops it. 7 points for Drobniak. That's the 4th assist for Gary Payton here tonight. Already the stark difference when it comes to the points from the point guards. Marbury working it around. Payton trying to get around for the defense. Back to Williams on the pick and roll, good. And Williams yet again finding space, a former 3-time champ for the Chicago Bulls. Lewis now gets some help from Evans for some screens. Payton takes a jumper, rattles, poked up in, punched away to Marion. Marion gives it to Hardaway, back to Marion. Williams, Marion, Marbury, now to slow it back down, now for the alley-oop to speed it back up. What can you say? The Matrix does a lot. And Sean Marion with the alley-oop slam for the former second-team All-Rookie. Payton to Evans again, pick and roll. Reggie Evans on the stop. Looking at Drobniak's totals, by the way. So far, he has been keeping toe-to-toe with Stoudemire. Speaking of which, hello, Amari Stoudemire on the cut. Drobniak looks low post. Kick back to Payton. Payton trying to work some pick and roll magic. Goes for a cut. Gets it over top 2 players. And that type of magic is why Payton's got 9. So far, Seattle has been able to keep toe-to-toe when he's stayed on the floor. Whenever he's gone to the bench, it's a different story. Stoudemire missing. Payton looking. Screen with Drobniak. Wide open door for Payton. Gary Payton, so far, keeping the points high. Would you believe, as the Croyon said, he only reached his assist per game personal best last year, 9 a game. He's got 5 so far. Williams stuffs it in on the pick and roll.
Assist goes to Stephon Marbury.
And every time Seattle responds, Phoenix seems to respond with at least 2 made buckets. Lewis, nearly intercepted. Payton swishes. A back and forth affair starting to build up. Seattle still down by double digits. Phoenix with the advantage. Marbury trying to get through the cut. Gets it over top. Radmanovich. Second free throw. Add to the 8 points here. Well off the mark. Radmanovich last year shooting 68% for the Stripe. Marion, layup, good. And Seattle just has struggled to close the gap. Can they find a spark to close up the third? Phoenix so far controlling the momentum. There's another steal for them. Johnson, past Booth. Again, it's good.
Joe Johnson.
Again, a good layup from Joe Johnson. Taken up by Sase. Mason. Radmanovich with the screen for Mason, going for the one-hand stop. That's just the second made bucket today from Desmond Mason. By the way, on that mark, Gary Payton, a double-double, 19 points and 10 assists. Marion, switched on by Booth. Back out to Marion, over top, Sase, yes. And the Matrix, an interesting character. Why is he called that? Well, Kenny the Jet Smith called him that when he was a teammate at one point. He's definitely lived up to the maestro-ness of that. His versatility and athleticism, as well as, of course, that unique jump shot. 7 on the shot clock here. Mason to the line.
Joe Johnson. First personal foul.
Already talked about earlier, Desmond Mason, one of the top players last year. He was in the conversation for most improved and for 6th man of the year with his effectiveness off the bench. D. Mays looking for the second free throw, doesn't go. A rough one though tonight, just 18% from the field. Marion, jumper court. Last shot of the third quarter. Hayden keeps it himself, fades it back, and another brick. 104-86 Phoenix. It's all Suns on 2K Sports. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Key Arena. The SuperSonics looking for someone to scream, "Wake up!" as loud as they can. Barry draws the reach to start off the quarter from Tom Gugliana. And we'll set things up for the inbound. On the floor for Seattle, Barry, Drobniak, Mason, joined by Radmanovich. Rounding out the 5, Sase. Barry goes for a stuff of his own. And Brent Barry showing a little bit of jump work. Last year's backup point guard to Gary Payton. Marbury missing his first jumper of the quarter. Barry running the backup point here. Pick and roll, Drobniak, good. And Seattle starting to get something going despite being down by 24. But as the pattern is said, Phoenix has responded fast each time. They go straight under the cup through a sea of jumpers. Looking at the shooting guard totals, Barry with the advantage +5, but Hardaway big on the passes. Drobniak big off the pass from Barry. Marbury looks on another drive, contact, Sase. Sase caught for the personal. Former D-League MVP. So far tonight, 28 points for Stephon Marbury. Add an extra point to that total as into the game comes Rashard Lewis. Marbury also efficient so far from the field, 45% as he puts up a 30-piece on opening night. Barry. Scanning for Lewis. Taking a jumper. Another miss. Another open miss. This time by Sweet Lou. Guglielmo. After the spin into place. Sheds off a defender. Good. The former All-Star with the bucket. Barry. Pick and roll with Drobniak. Back out to Radmanovic for the chase. Radmanovic showing off his ability outside the perimeter. Making woes at least once a game. So far, Seattle, each response, even back with a layup like that. Another one this time to Zeke Elias on the bucket. Barry. Again, keeping it slow-tempoed. Interesting enough, it was also the most improved voting race last season as Lewis makes the bucket. Back to Barry, though. He finished 5th in that because he more than doubled his point-per-game performance, just about. Going from about 8 to 14 and a half. Speaking of drives, Marbury drives by Barry for the bucket. Well, 9 minutes to go in this ball game. Phoenix looking well on its way to its first dub. Mason, hard contact. He'll draw the free throws. 20.9 seconds to go as Barry makes it a 20-point ball game for him. But for Phoenix, it's a 1-0 start to the season. Stephon Marbury and friends put up a stellar performance. Your final score here in Seattle, 147-124. Phoenix is 1-0. Phoenix is 1-0. For the rest of our crew, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching NBA basketball on 2K Sports. Well, we said we were changing history, right? In real life, this game ended 86-73 Seattle's way. Phoenix ends up exploding offensively in this one instead. Take a look at this. 39 for Marbury, 29 for Marion, and then you have 6 total in double-digit points. They shot 62% from the field. It was not a pretty start. We look to try and fix up the artwork, so to speak, for episode 2. We'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening.